Good morning. So we are doing the Bhagavad Gita, and this is continuation of chapter 8. We are going to do verse 25 onwards. So before we begin, I just want to bring to your notice that we will be having 4 satsangs in this week. So the dates have already been put up. So today morning there is one, today evening there is another one, and there are 2 more in this week. So likewise the Uddhav Gita will also be 4 in number. So instead of Saturday, Sundays only, there will be 2 more days in the week where you will find it in the evening time. Alright? So this was a small notice which you should know. So I'm just telling it to you. So now we will begin with the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, continuation, verse 25. Now in the verse 25, we are going to talk of the exact reverse of what was said in verse 24. So let me just recap the verse 24 for you. Krishna is telling Arjuna that there are 2 paths. The one is that in which there are stationed all effulgent fire gods and the deities presiding over daylight, the bright fortnight and the 6 months of the northward course of the sun, respectively, proceeding along it after death. Yogis who have known Brahma, being successively led by the above gods, finally reach Brahma. So this was the previous verse 24. Now the exact opposite is 25. So let us begin with verse 25 now. The other path is that wherein are stationed the gods presiding over smoke night, the dark fortnight, and the 6 months of the southward course of the sun. The yogi devoted to action with an interested motive, taking to this path after death, is led by the above gods, one after another, and attaining the luster of the moon, return to this mortal world. So now, there are 2 paths. The first path we had touched upon last time. It is the upward movement. And this path is called the downward movement. So what is the upward movement and what is the downward movement? I'm going to explain both these simultaneously so you get an understanding of the subject. Now, if I have to look at the material world outside and I say the upward path, we can only think in terms of, because we have been brainwashed into thinking that the heavens are up there and the hell is down there. This is the understanding which every human being has been given. You know very well, I know very well that there are no heavens up there and there is no hell down there. What are we seeing? The physically what we see in our world are the huge galaxies and stars, and the whole cosmos is there in front of us. So where is up and where is down in that case? There is neither up in the cosmos and there is neither down in the cosmos. So that means these verses have a very peculiar meaning. Some people take it as it's another dimension. The idea that there are multi-dimensional universes is a science fiction as well as fiction in the minds of people. We are trying to explore these multiple dimensions. Now, why is it science fiction? I'm just giving an understanding that it is science fiction because people actually don't have any proof of it. In science, you require proof of everything. In spirituality and in religion, there is no proof actually. There is no proof. Everything is based on faith. It's a very The differentiating factor between science and religion is the word called faith. There you require proof of the pudding, which is the material worldly proof, and here you require faith. Absolutely. The absolute faith. So we have to take it from the spiritual perspective now. We are not going to go into the religious aspect. We are not even going to go into the scientific aspect, but just the twist in the words are so peculiar that you will understand what I am saying. The path which is shown over here is called the downward spiral. And then there is an upward spiral. So we go up and down. Now, in the words of human beings, okay, and those who understand my language, there are uppers and there are downers also. Those who understand it. Now in this world, in our spiritual world, what is the meaning of the word going up and going down? Going up is elevating, going upwards. Downwards means going on a downward descent, downwards. Human beings have a tendency because we have a mind. And the mind loves to go upwards. It loves to soar when it is in a very good mood. And when you are in a bad mood, you love to go downwards. Isn't that what we say in the normal sense? Oh, I have a very good mood. Let's go up and enjoy. Let's do this. Let's do that. But when you are in the depressed mode and you like to just go in your shell and do nothing. So here, what are we talking about? We are talking about the state of mind and the state of the human being. This is a human being and the state of his mind. These are two things we are talking about. So we have a central nervous system. Scientifically, we know that. There is a brain and there is the entire nervous system. It moderates everything in the body. Whatever that has to happen, whether it's the heartbeat it has to give, whether it has to release certain hormones, it has to do certain activities, lifting a finger or a hand. It is done by means of the nervous system. It sends impulses to different parts of the body. Now there is the system which talks about going upwards and the one which goes downwards. The system which goes upwards is supposed to be a very positive one. And the one which goes downwards is called the negative one. Now, the other path is that wherein are stationed the gods presiding over smoke, night and the dark fortnight. The smoky path. Now these are words which have been put in a pictorial format so that you get an understanding of the subject. The earlier one was the all-effulgent fire gods and the deities presiding over daylight. This is the dark, that is the daylight. Daylight means you are seeing everything in a bright perspective. So when you are welcoming death also, or when you are in a very good habit, in a very good mood, and things are looking upwards, if you are to live your life at that point in time, you will have no regrets in your life, isn't it? But when you are in a depressed state of mind, where maybe you don't have any money, or you are lying in the dumps somewhere, you are just lying in the gutters. At such time when you experience death, it is going to be very painful, isn't it? Likewise, when you are in a better state of mind, that means you are going upwards, you are climbing the ladders of the Kundalini. Going downwards is going down on the ladders of the Kundalini. The Kundalini is supposed to be turning upwards at the base of our spine. So, where the Kundalini rises upwards, going up. It's a place in between. It's a very, very tiny space. It is said that the Shakti rises upwards. That's the Muladhara Chakra. It is a very tiny space. In between the evacuation organ and the organ of reproduction. There's a very tiny space. Now, those who know a little bit of yogasana, pranayama or all those, you know that you have been told to put the feet in such a manner that a portion of it is blocking on that particular space. Okay? This is called the bandha. Bandha means closing. So now let us see this whole thing. Closing the downward path. Closing the downward path of the Kundalini. Downward. So that means we should not allow the Kundalini to slip down below. Because down below are 7 levels of hell. Alright? They start from the hip downwards till the tip of your big toe. These are called the levels of hell. Downwards, if there is a slide of this Kundalini, you are sliding into this particular abyss, which is ruled by the smoke, the night, the dark fortnight and the 6 months of the downward, southward course of the sun. The sun, which is like I told you, it is somewhere in the center near the navel. Now it is going downwards and it is going upward. The sun doesn't actually move. The whole earth tilts this way and this way. I'm sure those who know geography will understand what I'm talking about. So you are tilting like this. So the sun is reflecting down below. So when the earth is this way, the sun is reflecting up. So the sun moves upwards during the summer months. So those who are staying upwards of equator, the sun moves upwards in the summer. In the winter, the sun has gone downwards. It doesn't mean that the sun is going down. It means that the earth shift is there, tilt is there. And because the tilt is there, so when the earth is going around the sun, this happens. Got the answer? Now think about it. In our life also, we go through 6 months, and 15 days every month of the upward movement of the sun, which means you are on top of the world. You really feel, I can achieve it, I can do this, I can do that, that kind of a thing is there. And the balance of the 6 months you have that very funny, sad expression on your face, or depressed kind of a person. So why does this happen? It's because your mind is the one which is making it happen. It is not the self or the soul. No, it doesn't work like that. Please remember this. You cannot blame the God inside of you. No, it is not the God, it is the body. It's the B-O-D-Y, body. The body is tilting up and downwards. It is the movement of this upwards or the downward movements of the energies. Alright? So if you allow it to happen, who is allowing it to happen? Human beings allow it to happen. Who makes you depressed? You yourself make it depressing. It is because you don't have control over the mind. You should be controlling the mind. It happens in another way. The mind controls you. And because the mind controls the body, you go in a state of depression. Okay? Chemical imbalance, they say. Sir, chemical imbalance is only in the B-O-D-Y, body, not in the spirit. The spirit is not even bothered about it. So only human beings who believe they are the body are affected. And who are the better examples of those who get affected by the body? They are so much attuned to their body that they get affected like nobody's business. They will talk, oh, I have depression, I have this, I have that. They will keep on popping pills for every nonsense that they do in this world. They are body oriented. They have no clue about the soul or the spirit in them, because in their world they have given up spirituality as a subject. They think spirituality is some nonsense. These people have absolutely no clue. So they think they are in a depressed state of mind, M-I-N-D again. Mind has to be controlled, whereas their mind controls them. And because the mind controls them, mind gives them various ideas. The mind will tell them that they are not feeling well. If they have a little bit of tension, a little bit of a problem in the world, they will open their cases and they will take a lot of blue, purple, red, yellow, green, white, all kinds of pills, and they will pop it. Eat the pills. Oh, this will give me a good feeling after that. You know how downright human and ignorant these people have become? They succumb to their baser senses. Their mind and their body is reacting to it. Here, Krishna is talking about this. Human beings, those who succumb to these senses and sensory organs and all that is connected to the body and the mind, they slip downwards on the path of hell. Downwards. They don't know. Actually, these people are absolutely ignorant. You go and ask anybody. The same people who do the pill popping thing, they go to psychiatrists, they go to head doctors, doctors who are going to give them, they will listen to them, okay, and they will prescribe them a long list of, drugs. Drugs are artificially induced things. Just like even the yogis in India, they are not called yogis, they are the fake sadhus. They will take drugs so that they can reach the higher state of being. Actually, higher state of being doesn't require this kind of drugs. But dependent on all these foreign influences, they also started taking this. They don't have any belief in religion, God, spirituality, or the spirit or the soul inside. They don't have this kind of a belief. And naturally, they are going to succumb to it. So these people succumb to it, they go in the downward spiral. When they go in the downward spiral, what happens to them? There's 15 days in a month, they're depressed. 15 days in a month, it is exactly coinciding with the phases of the moon. And that is why all these people, they have the idea that the influence is like that. The moon's influence. These are the same people who will believe in this kind of nonsense. The other book where I am doing, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very clearly says, there are no planets which influence you. But here these people are influenced by planetary systems. 15 days in a month, they are in a depressed state. 15 days in a month, they are in a very high state. Alright? So that is what happens to them. So they are going in the downward path. Then, in the dark fortnight and the 6 months of southward course of the sun, the yogi taking to this path after death is led by the above gods. If there is a yogi who believes in all these nonsense, he goes on the downward spiral. Now you may ask, why is a yogi doing this? Well, there are yogis who are connected to the downward path. You should know that. You will find that there are yogis in this world who are very sincere to the downward path. They are the ones who make money. They are the ones who cheat people. They are the ones who will put a false garb. They are the ones who literally take you to the cleaners. If you are a disciple of theirs, they will loot you. They will give you all the false idea about knowledge about God. They will say there is no such thing as God. I will teach you how to take the left-handed path. So they will teach the path of all those which are called banned things. What is banned? Okay? The banned things are basically drinks, the meat, drugs and sex. 4 things which are banned for a yogi. They will say through this path you can go and reach God. That is the downward path, going downwards. So he takes to this path and he is led by these gods. These gods will take him towards one after another, attaining the luster of the moon. Did I not tell you just now it is called the luster of the moon? The people are lunatic. Did you get the point? They are ruled by the loon. La loon means the moon. So the moon is ruling their world. The previous one, it is the sun, Brahma. They go upwards. This is downwards. And they return to the mortal world. Because they have not been able to go anywhere, so they return to the mortal world. Because, understand, if you are going downwards, you have to return back to this mortal world only. This mortal world as a demon. Or as a, small creature. Maybe an animal, a bird, God knows, something like that. Maybe a vulture. Who knows? So they have to come back. So I hope you understood. The first path is the upward path. The second path is the downward path. So we will go to the next verse now. We are doing chapter 8, verse 26. So Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 26. For these 2 parts of the world, the bright and the dark are considered to be eternal. Proceeding by one of them, one reaches the supreme state from which there is no return. And proceeding the other, one returns to the mortal worlds, that is, become subject to birth and death once more. So those who follow the upward path, the path which leads you to the gods up there, they have the chance of getting out of this system of rebirths. So those who are moving their Kundalini Shakti upwards, by progressing on the path of spiritual. When you progress on the path of spiritual and move your Shaktis upwards, they have the first 15 days. See, they are not actually affected by anything. You can die anytime if you are going on the upward path. It really does not matter. Because if you have crossed over, then it really doesn't matter whether you die in January, February or March, April, whichever month you die, it really doesn't matter. You can die in any month. You can die in the other half of the moon also, other half of the fortnight, which is the dark fortnight, if you have crossed over to the other side. But for those who have not crossed over, these 2 paths are there. Upward path and the downward path. Those who believe in all the depressive tendencies, those who commit suicides, those who have all kinds of problematic things, those who go to all these doctors and take medicines and pills and this and that, whatever that they are doing, and they don't have any faith or belief in the divine. They don't have any faith in spirituality. They don't have any faith in there is a soul. They only believe they are the body and the body gets buried. So they will be born again and again and again and again and again. And this path is open for the downward path. For the people, those who love to go downwards. Because their belief is not there. Got it? Did I not tell you the difference between science and religion is faith, faith. This word is not existing in the material. Okay? The word doesn't exist. So science doesn't have faith, they want proof. Religion doesn't want any proof, it is only based on faith. So whichever one that you wish to take, this, the faith one, is called the upward path of the spiral. This, based on the proof of the pudding, is called the downward path of the spiral. So whichever path that you wish to take, you are free to take. As a yogi, you are entitled to take whichever path that you wish to. If you take the upward path, you can have the privilege of getting out of the system. You can become the Brahma yourself. If you take the downward path, and please remember one thing, you will be born again and again, and not necessarily as a human being at all. You can be taking any birth for that matter. You can be a dog, you can be a bird, you can be a vulture, you can be a small insect, a worm, a fish, or whatever. Really doesn't matter. Because you have now multiple lifetimes to go through. This is what he says. Become subject to birth and death once more. So I hope you understood. Those who take the upward path have the chance of getting out of the system, becoming Brahma himself. So, when both the paths are eternal, till the last day, that means till the fourth yuga is there. The last day of the fourth yuga, this path is there till that time. This is the eternity. It's millions of years. So decide on what is exactly that you are interested in. And proceeding on one of them, one reaches the supreme state, which is the divine state which we spoke of. I'm sure you remember the supreme state. Verse 21, 22, 23. We have done this in this chapter itself. If not, go back and listen to the satsang once again. So you have a choice of going upwards and coming towards Krishna. Or you can go downwards and go to hell. Doesn't matter. If you go downwards, you will be born again. That is guaranteed. Okay, so we will move to the next verse. This is verse 27 from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8. Knowing thus the secret of these two paths, O son of Kunti, no yogi gets deluded. Therefore, Arjuna, at all times be steadfast in the yoga in the form of equanimity. Now, this is a very, very important verse. Listen to it carefully. If you know the secret of these two paths, which I have given a glimpse of it in the last and this satsang, it's a secret which I have revealed. Did I not tell you at the beginning of this chapter that there are lots of secrets which will be revealed? So these secret paths are also very secretive. I have told you how to react to these two paths. This chapter you can listen to it 10 times also. Maybe you will get some answers. Those who are moving on the sattva guna, those who are moving on the sattva guna, they go in the upward spiral. They are good, kind, considerate, loving, caring. They don't have any wrong habits. So they will always move on the upward path. They will come to Krishna also because they can return to the supreme state. Remember this previous verse where he said these words. But those who are following the path of the other one, which is downward path. The downward path is ruled by what is called as the movement of the sun downwards, right? So here in this case, if a person is following all the negative paths, anger, lust, greed, avarice, you name it, they have a lot of negativity in them. Such kind of people who are attuned to anger and all this kind of negative stuff, they follow the downward path. They go to hell. Why? Because they have to be reborn again and again and again and again and again. Please remember this. They have to be born again. There is no saving these people. No. So this is what he says. But the only way in which you can go beyond, all right, is called the path of equanimity. Equanimity means you are not moving left or right. You do not get upset and angry over people. You don't bother about what is happening in this world. If somebody says something or something goes wrong in your world, you don't get upset because of that. You don't show your anger. You do not utter bad words. You do not say anything. Your mind doesn't react. And on the other side, when something good happens to you, you earn merits in this world. When people say you look so good, you are so kind, you are so compassionate, you are so loving. When people say these words, if you get swayed by it and you start thinking, I am such a good person, I am such a good person. And those who keep on repeating these words, I have been a good person in my life, I have been a good person in my life, I am a very good person. If you repeat these words, you don't have equanimity of mind. So either when you say you are a terrible person, anger, lust, greed, all those negatives, and you sway towards that, you get upset when people say something to you, or you get upset when things go wrong in your life, and when things go good in your life, you feel mighty pleased about it. You keep on telling the world, I am such a good person. And you believe that you have to tell the whole world how much you are taking care of other people. Then you do not have equanimity of mind. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you do not have this equanimity of mind, you will be lost. Knowing the secret of these two paths, O son of Kunti, no yogi gets deluded. If you are the knower of truth, you are not even going to get deluded by both these paths, because you have nothing to do with both these paths. Therefore, O Arjuna, at the times be steadfast in the yoga in the form of equanimity. Believe in me, believe in Krishna, and have equanimity of mind. Don't get swayed. Don't get upset. Don't get angry. Don't let your mind talk. Remember, because of the mind, the person gets depressed. Because of the mind, they go on the downward spiral. Did you not listen to verse 25 today? They go to hell. Those who have anger, those who get upset, those who always are falling down in their mind, they will go on the downward spiral. The one who retains the equanimity of mind doesn't get affected by the good or the bad in this world. He is having that equanimity constantly. He is always on the path of yoga. This is what yoga is about, equanimity of mind. You don't have to get into anything. So now we will move to the next verse. This is chapter 8, Bhagavad Gita, verse 28. This is the last verse in this chapter. The yogi, realizing this profound truth, doubtless transcends all the rewards enumerated for the study of the Vedas, as well as the performance of the sacrifices, austerities and charities, and attains the supreme and the primal state. This yogi who has the equanimity of mind, remember, it is this yogi who has transcended this state. A yogi who has gone beyond the belief of the upward movement and the downward movement. He doesn't practice anything. No. Such a kind of a person, he has the knowledge of the truth. He transcends all the Vedas. All the Vedas do not have any value to him because he has gone beyond the Vedas. The Vedas have been given for the functioning of this universe. They are called the framework. Alright? So he has gone beyond the framework. The daily study which everybody practices, those who are on the path of spiritual, they do all these prayers and the daily practice of the Vedas and all. I'm sure you know that. They will be saying all kinds of Vedic hymns and scriptures and whatever, they just they will be doing. They keep on talking about the various suktas that are there. They keep on taking the Sahasranahar Nam. You know that 1,000 names of gods, of all kinds of gods, by the way. It could be any god, doesn't matter. So they are taking the names of the god. All this yogi doesn't even have to do. If you have transcended everything, if you have had the equanimity of mind, then there is nothing in this world that needs to be done for such a person. He doesn't have to do any sacrifices. You have seen those great yogis performing sacrifices, isn't it? In the movies and all they show. Here we are not talking about those sacrifices. Here we are talking about the sacrifices even in the body, the mind. All those sacrifices also. He doesn't even have to do those sacrifices. He doesn't have to maintain austerities. Clean clothes, taking a bath in the morning, all those kind of things are austerities which the people are doing, Eating only sattvic food and all that kind of stuff which they do. Having upvas, that is the fasting is there, the getting up at a certain time. This yogi doesn't even have to do any of those things. He doesn't have to do charities also. Remember, we were doing this. There are the 4 things which affect a person if he has to overcome the mind. The first one was charity. Do you remember this? In the Bhagavad Gita I was teaching you. Last Saturday, Sunday also I taught you. If you have to overcome the mind, charity is the number 1. That also they don't have to do. Because if you have overcome everything and now you have gone beyond, then there is nothing to be done. Not even charity. You don't have to become charitable also. Why? They attain the supreme and the primal state. They attain me, Krishna. They attain Krishna. This is what Krishna is telling this world. So they don't have to do anything spectacular. They don't have to do anything for that matter. They don't do any yogas. Nothing. They don't do any austerities. They don't have to even take bath in any river. They don't go visit any holy places. It really doesn't matter to them. They may be just wandering around here and there like a nutcase. Doesn't matter to them. They will be avdutas. And because they are like that, it doesn't matter what clothes they wear, how they stay, what they do. Really doesn't matter. They are the free soul. Free. Body is just like a burden to them. They are dragging the body. Body is like a trailer to them. You understand? You have the car and the trailer behind, no? So a body is like a trailer to them. They're just dragging it wherever they go. A trailer has no use except when you go on a holiday, right? So it's like that. So they don't care about their body also. Because they have transcended everything. They have the most primary ingredient of all. Equanimity. And when you have the equanimity, and you have transcended this upper path and the lower path and the rights and the wrongs and the good and the bad, you don't have any sattva guna also, and in the rajas and tamas also you don't have. You have transcended all the gunas, everything. Such a kind of a person reaches the ultimate supreme state. So we have come to the end of this chapter 8. We will be starting chapter 9. Thus in the Upanishads sung by the Lord, the science of the Brahma, the scripture of the yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 8th chapter titled The Yoga of Imperishable Brahma. So we have come to the end of chapter 8. It was a very interesting chapter because there were a lot of revelations that were done, and I hope you at least follow some of them because it is important to do so. Next chapter is called The Sovereign Science and the Sovereign Secret. This is also a secret. So let us see what is this Krishna telling Arjuna about this sovereign science and the sovereign secret. Remember, we have ended the previous chapter with a very beautiful note that this yogi who has attained the state of equanimity, who doesn't get swayed right or wrong, he doesn't get upset, he doesn't get angry, he doesn't even show anything in his mind because he is in a no mind state. To overcome the mind, a person has to do charity. He doesn't even do charity, he doesn't do anything because he knows he is not the body. Remember, the crassest of the human beings, the absolutely down to earth and the most ignorant people on earth, they believe they are the body. They believe they are the mind. they are the lowest of the creatures. Those who understand that there is a spirit within them, those who understand that there is a God, there is a divinity within them, there is a self, they have attained at least a certain status. They don't believe they are the body, so they don't succumb to the body and the mind. Those who succumb to the body and the mind are the ignorant people. Got it? So the yogi who doesn't succumb to all these things has gone beyond. He will reach the supreme state of Krishna. Right. So we are doing chapter 9. This is a chapter of the supreme sovereign secret. Krishna is going to explain that to us. So, chapter 9, the Bhagavad Gita, verse 1. Shri Bhagavan said, "To you who are devoid of the carping spirit, I shall now unfold the most secret knowledge of Nirgun Brahma, along with the knowledge of the manifest divinity, knowing which you shall be free from the evil of worldly existence." So Krishna is saying, I am going to reveal you the secret knowledge. See, the whole idea of this book is secrecy. What is the name of Krishna? Secret. The secret. No, this is not that Rhonda, whatever, that person's name. No, this is not the book of that. This is the deepest of the secret. The spiritual secret. So Krishna says, I am going to give you this secret knowledge of the Nirgun Brahma and the manifest divinity. If I go back to the previous chapter, you will remember that we spoke of the Nirgun Brahma. It is called the first divine unmanifest. Do you remember? If not, listen to chapter 8, you will get an understanding. So the Nirgun Brahma, Nirgun, the one which doesn't have the guna. Nirgun. Gunas are sattva, rajas and tamas. The one which doesn't get attracted by Maya. So because there is nothing to get attracted to, it doesn't have any size, shape or feeling, whatever, nothing. So Nirgun Brahma, the first divine unmanifest, and the knowledge of the manifest divinity. Who is this manifest divinity? Second divine unmanifest. Far beyond the first manifest is a second divine unmanifest where I am the supreme person. And that is my supreme abode. Krishna has said these words in the previous chapter, if you remember. So he is going to talk about this manifest divinity. So now, for those who have little understanding, after you die, and you might have attained your last state. What is that? You know, dharma, artha, kama and moksha. The last one. Suppose you have attained moksha. Where do you go? You go in the Brahma. Unmanifest. So did you get the point? If you die and you have attained moksha, you have nowhere to go. You have only one place to go, that is called the Brahma. Unmanifest. You will get dissolved in the unmanifest. Got it? So that is the state of the first divine unmanifest, which is called Nirgun Brahma. Got it? Now, then he is going to tell us about the second unmanifest. Somebody must have created this first unmanifest, isn't it? Somebody is responsible for this Brahma. The one who is responsible is actually a supreme person. This is what he says. It's a manifest divinity. I am manifest, Krishna says so. He is not saying anything wrong. In the world, he manifested as a human being. A little bit of understanding. He is the supreme person there. The supreme person, can he not take a manifest form? Yes. Can he not take a human body? Of course he can. So does he not take human bodies more often? Yes, of course. So Krishna comes constantly. Constantly he keeps on coming. There are not major avatars after Krishna. Okay? The next major avatar is going to be the last one. That is called the Kalki avatar. That is when the world has to be destroyed. There are no Kalkis today. Okay? Otherwise you will be under the impression that, oh, Kalki is born today. Sorry boss, there is no Kalki born today. Kalki is at the end of more than 400,000 years. So anybody who is thinking that they are Kalki today cannot live for 400,000 years. So there are no, these are all the forms that are there today. They are minor forms. They are nothing major. So Krishna takes multiple forms. So after his last major form as a human being was Sri Krishna of Vrindavan and Mathura, right? And later on of Dwarka. So he is that one Krishna. After that he took minor forms, very, very small forms for doing some little calculations, some errors, something, some adjustments. So he is constantly coming and going. So this supreme person called Krishna takes minor forms. They don't have much powers also. They have very little powers, but they are the essence of that divine. Got the answer? So he says, I am going to give you the knowledge of first, the Nirgun Brahma. Second, the manifest form which you came to know about. It is the manifest divinity. Not the physically manifest divinity as a human being, but the manifest divinity in the second divine unmanifest. Where? Second divine unmanifest. Got the answer? So he is going to give the answer of the manifest divinity in the second divine unmanifest, and the next one which is called the unmanifest first unmanifest. So we go to verse 2, chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita, verse 2. The knowledge is a sovereign science, a sovereign secret, supremely holy, most excellent, directly enjoyable, attended with virtue, very easy to practice, and imperishable. In this he says, the knowledge of these two states. What are the two states? The Brahma, which is the first divine unmanifest, and the Supreme Purusha, which is the second divine unmanifest. I am a person, he says. If you have the knowledge of these two, both these places, this one and this one, the unmanifest and the second divine unmanifest, which is the Supreme Person, the Nirgun Brahma and the second divine unmanifest, where is the Supreme Person, this one, both these states. Both these states, the knowledge of this, it's a sovereign science. Sovereign means it is the ultimate and the final knowledge that you can have. It's a science. There is a proof of it, that there is such a thing. Remember the previous verse I was telling you, science requires proof and religion requires faith, right? Now here he is telling you there is a sovereign science. The knowledge of this Parabrahma and the knowledge of the Supreme Person. Both these are sovereign sciences. It's a sovereign secret. Hardly anybody knows about it. Incidentally, there is not a single person on earth who knows this secret. They may have an idea about the first one. What is the first one? the Nirgun Brahma. They have the knowledge of the Nirgun Brahma. They say, yes, there is a Brahma, we know. Most of these Babajis that are there, most of these people, those who practice spirituality, they have the idea that there is some kind of a heaven. And that is Nirgun heaven. Okay. So even the Buddhists have this, nothingness, they say, shunyata, blah, blah. They become a Buddha over there. Yes, can never come back. This science is known to even these people. This science is known even to the Chinese who believe in Guanyin. This science is known to even the Egyptians who know about this kind of state. Is known to literally everybody, whether it's the Incas, the Aztecs, or you name the Red Indians, you name even the Norse gods that are there, everybody knows about it. Whether it's a Greek or whichever Roman mythology, doesn't matter, everybody knows there is a place where they say everything disappears. This is known. But the other one, it is not known to many people. Though, like this book is a secret, the spiritual texts of even the Christians and other religions are a top secret. It's a sovereign secret. I will explain to you. The same thing is there in the Bible, but it is not visible to anybody. They say we want to go to heaven. There is a heaven. But there is a Father in heaven. Because Jesus himself said there is a Father in heaven. And he is called the Son of God. So there is a form, being with a form. Now don't be under the impression that he is the bearded fellow and all that kind of thing. That is only a concocted version. Don't go by all that. Okay. There is a form. And this particular form is there in the heavens, is what they said. We are talking exactly of that. So Krishna is explaining exactly that there is something which is beyond that. Got it? What is beyond that is this Sagun, with form. There is a God with form there. So, it is a supreme secret. It's the sovereign secret. Supremely holy. It's the most holy of all the secrets. It is the most excellent, the ultimate thing that is there. The most excellent. There can be no other thing besides that, which we call as excellent. It's the ultimate in excellence. It is directly enjoyable. You can directly enjoy it. And this is what is the funny part. It's a sovereign science. Remember these words again. It's a sovereign science. That means it is known. There is a proof in it. A proof is existing there. How does the proof come about? By experience, isn't it? When you experience the words, you get the proof. You experience it. How do you experience it? People say that I can experience science when there is an attraction and a repulsion of the magnets. You can come to know about it. And then you perform the experiment, you can see the lines of the magnet, isn't it? When you put the iron filings and all that. It's like that. You can see the lines, no? In the same way, when people see through electron microscopy, they can see the minor cells. Inside the cells, they will see the nucleus, the mitochondria, this, that, everything. We have broken it down to the DNA molecule also. And when there is a replacement of a particular DNA, a particular molecule, there are variations happening. Isn't that what is happening today? They are talking about the different coronaviruses. They are called the mutated state. So some mutation, some extra gene has gone somewhere. Some extra molecule got attached to it. Some separate bonds have formed. And that is why it has become separate. So there is a proof in it, right? You can see it through the electron microscopy. So you get a physical knowledge of it, and you can physically see it. So here Krishna is talking about this is a sovereign secret, and this secret is also a science. So there is a proof in it which you can actually experience physically. Yes, experiencing it physically is also possible. It's a secret which you can experience, and that is why he says it is directly enjoyable. That means with your physical body you can enjoy it. See, how do you enjoy otherwise? You drink some nice soft drink and you feel cool. Nice, cool. You eat an ice cream, you feel nice about it, right? Likewise, if you see some nice picture, you say, wow, this is so beautiful. You go to a library, you see the books and you say, wow, so many books to read. Right? You may be watching some serial. It's called enjoyment. No physical enjoyment is there. So he is talking about directly enjoyable. You can actually enjoy it. Attended with virtue. If you have any vices, you can't attain it. You need to have all the virtues in the world. It is when you have the virtues that experience is possible. Can you experience goodness when you are angry? No, it's a vice. Anger is a vice. You can never experience goodness in anybody on earth. Think about it. Somebody you don't like comes and sits in front of you. Hello, good evening, good evening. After that, you don't even look at that person. It is because it's a vice inside of you. You look away and you ignore the person. There is no goodness in you if you ignore a person. You can't ignore people. You have to have the goodness in you. It is called the virtue. Even if your enemy comes and sits in front of you, even if you are going through your hell in your life, you are still supposed to act very nicely. It is called Atiti Devo Bhava. Speaking nicely, good words, asking the person, how are your parents? How is your wife? How are your children? How is your house? Is everything all right? These are questions which a normal, virtuous person will talk. But a person who has got anger and all the vices will not even act well. Such a kind of a person can never get an experience of the Supreme Divine. Attended with virtue. You can only attend these two states with virtue only. Only if you have the goodness. If you are the best person in the world, be your good self, then you can attain anything. Very easy to practice and imperishable. It is the easiest thing to practice. To practice goodness, to practice the sattva guna, to practice equanimity of mind. That is required of a person. Then only they can experience this imperishable state. So we have come to the end of verse 2 from chapter 9. Like I said to you in the morning, we will be continuing from verse 3 in the evening today at 4:30. So those who wish to join can join us at that time. See you all, take care, and I'll see you in the evening. Bye.